Hi everyone. I live in Ottawa, Canada and have two kids, a 13-year-old and 10-year-old boy. I make a decent six-figure income, while my wife makes $35K. We haven't been communicating with each other for months and would just walk by each other in the house. Long story short, I found out that she has been having an affair with a guy and had a sexual relationship with him. I actually have a recording of her talking about having sex with him. Fast forward, she has recently handed me a separation agreement from her lawyer, and, of course, is asking for primary residency of the kids for child support purposes, and demanding alimony. Here it is, she does not know that I know she's been having an affair. My big question is, would it be beneficial at this point to bring this up with the intent of her lowering her demands? Or, do you think I shouldn't even bring it up as she might even demand more money and make it worse for me financially by bringing the bombshell out? I have recently found out that my wife has had multiple affairs, physical and emotional, and that she wants a divorce. We have been married for about 10 years and have no kids. We both have good jobs and earn a combined income of $250K plus. She earns a little more than me now, but that was reversed for years. So some background. Our marriage has hit a bumpy road the last few years. I had an accident a few years ago, and, eventually that led to me needing to have a surgery to repair the damages to my body. While recovering from that surgery, I developed a blood clot and then a pulmonary embolism, and, nearly dying. From the time of the accident, I started to put on weight because I was physically limited with what I can do from the pain, so the surgery was necessary. All of this compounded, I started to have depression. There were a few other items during this time that contributed to my depression, but, those are the broad strokes of it. It took me a few years to finally realize that I needed professional help with my depression, and at the beginning of this year, I started seeing a psychiatrist and started on some antidepressants. Then COVID-19 happened, and once we got through the worst of it, I started seeing a therapist as well. Over the last few months, I have really started to come out of the darkness of my depression and really started to feel more positive. My depression displayed itself with anger, yelling, being short, snippy, lack of motivation, generalized withdrawing. You get the idea. Over the last 2 months, my wife told me that she wanted a divorce, and that came as a bit of a shock, as when we last talked about our relationship, she was on board for us to work on our relationship and to start couples therapy. A few weeks after this conversation, she went out shopping and stopped replying to my text for like a 2-hour period. So I got curious and looked at our phone account and noticed that while she was ignoring my text, she was texting another number, which led to a black hole, finding a bunch of other numbers, which led me to logging into her email and then social media accounts and found all of the incriminating evidence of the affairs. I didn't say anything that night. The next morning, I confronted her and she came clean on things. At this point, we have not told anything to family or friends, and she doesn't want to yet, as we have conflicting ideas of what the message should be when we tell everyone. I want to be able to be completely honest, but she doesn't want that and is concerned about her reputation and being judged by friends and family. My life has been a vortex of emotions the last few months. At the end of the day, I love my wife. I want the opportunity to try to work on our relationship. I really want to make up the years of my depression to her. I want to change her mind. I want to prove it's worth trying. We have a long history and I don't want to throw it away. My wife and I have been married 4 years. We'd already been through some issues and done a year of marriage counseling in 2017, however things were picking up and we got a house in 2018 and also had our first child. Late last year, my friend Greg needed a place to stay or he would have been homeless, so we let him rent out our spare bedroom. He's been in and out of jobs, but always good about pitching in, doing some chores, buying us groceries, etc. In the last few months, I felt things getting more distant between me and my wife. That, along with work pressure, bills, house projects, our baby, and now, quarantine, all exploded on Easter Sunday when she told me while sitting in bed that she wasn't in love with me anymore. I didn't make her happy, she didn't know if we'd work out. I was stunned. Sick to my stomach. I think we both cried all night. The next few days she refused to barely look at me, much less hug me or anything. Usually, our fights or issues would resolve in a day or two, but this just wasn't getting any better. I decided to ask Greg to move out, as each day we'd had arguments and it was hell with us all three quarantined together, me trying to work from home in the middle of it. Then on Thursday of that week, after seeing her therapist, she tells me on the phone that she's suicidal and checks into a mental hospital. I take care of our kiddo, bills, managed to clean the house up after our roommate moved out, basically juggled it all until she was released to come back home. When she gets back, I notice nothing is better around me. Snippy, dismissive, unloving. But I'll hear her talking to several guy friends on the phone where she sounds flirty and funny. She made a guy friend while in the mental hospital, and one conversation I overheard them joking about hand jobs. I asked her about this, and she said he was just her support partner. I told her that I wished I was her support, and she didn't say anything. She was going to hang out with this man on a walk but decided not to when I said that it seemed weird, which I was thankful for. Still, her odd behavior continued. She then seemed to talk to our old roommate Greg daily, and she'd duck out to the bathroom with the fan on to do so one time even. Also, she wrote in her diary constantly. So, I peeked at it while she was gone one day. And the newest entry was a 2-page diatribe about her undying love for Greg. About how much she wanted him, blah blah blah. I texted a mutual friend of Greg and mine's about it because I was so shocked. He suggested I confront Greg. So I texted Greg, "Did you ever do anything inappropriate with my wife?" He actually had the balls to call me, and said that I had been working too much, I was out of shape, a bad husband, and that yes they kissed, but didn't have sex. Later that night I confronted my wife and asked her if it was true. She said it was and we both just kinda sat there. I told her I had a hunch something was up, but didn't admit to reading her diary. Then a few days later, she asks if I'd read it. I shook my head no, but didn't say anything. She then says she knows I did because she went through my phone and saw my texts with my friend. We both flipped out on each other, and she left to go to her friend's house. That was in May. She moved out for a month, but I decided to let her move back and now we're in marriage counseling. Not sure what the future holds. So my girlfriend of 1 month that started living with me almost right after we met, seems perfect. She told me I was her ideal. She asked me to be exclusive with her. I told her I loved her. She asked me to be her boyfriend. She initiated talks of moving in together and even marriage. However, she's always talking to this guy over text. They text every morning and night and she tells me he's just a friend, but, unluckily for her, I know quite a bit about him and he's a player. He doesn't just make female friends. Upon looking on her phone, she is having sex with him every time she leaves my place to go out by herself. She sends nudes to him daily, and even talks about me to him. He says wait for him to catch feelings, then crush his heart haha, to which she laughs, and tells him that I don't even know what's happening, and that she's only using me for my place which is close to him. Funnily enough, she tells him she makes me use a condom. I guess even she doesn't want to seem like too much of a slut. However, I think she is serious about me as long as I remain clueless. She gets mad when I'm on the phone outside because she thinks I am talking to other girls, and she's offered to buy me an expensive early birthday present a week ago and I declined her. As long as you're here on my birthday, I told her, I'll be happy. But now I'm thinking of getting that gift and then kicking her out. The only problem is that, because this would be a significant chunk of her savings, she might be persistent with me. But I really just need to get back at her in some way. I feel so completely and utterly humiliated. They were literally making fun of me in their conversations. Should I do this? For context, she works full-time and has almost $8,000 in savings. The gift she offered to buy me was $2,000. We're both in our early 20s.